Coming up on CAPS 13, new electric vehicle chargers installed on campus at Pitt State.
Plus, 2 Pitt State instructors have been named members and have been named Faculty of the Year. And
a mixing pot of cultures on display for another successful Pitt State Global Fest. CAPS 13 News starts right now. Welcome to CAPS 13 News. I'm Brandon Darbyshire.
And I'm Zachariah Boswell.
Pittsburgh community members gathered to participate in the annual Walk to End Alzheimer's. CAPS 13 reporter Addie Hinterweger joins us now in the studio.
The Alzheimer's Association hosts walks around the country, including right here in Guerrilla Village. I was able to talk with some people at the walk. Members of the community hit the pavement and donated online in support of the disease that affects 175,000 people in Kansas and Missouri. The Heart of America chapter of the Alzheimer's Association has raised $10,000 towards its goal. Executive Director Elizabeth Rowe says the chapter oversees walks in 65 counties in Kansas and Missouri.
This event is one of over 600 walks across the country that the Alzheimer's Association puts on every year. And it's one of 8 walks in the Heart of America chapter footprint. It's our first one, and we're so thankful that it happened in Pittsburgh on World Alzheimer's Day.
Attendees were given flowers, each with a different color, indicating their connection to Alzheimer's. While attendee Crystal Johnson holds the purple flower with honor, she still fears what could come in the future.
We do the Alzheimer's walk because we lost our dad to Alzheimer's 3 or 4 years back, and it's something that we're really passionate about. I'm one of 7, and we all are concerned that Alzheimer's is a disease that affects the family hereditarily.
Rose says she has lost family members to the disease and longs for a cure.
I have it as a personal mission to help find treatments, to help delay the progression of the disease, as well as ultimately a cure so that people like myself and my nieces and nephews can live in a world without Alzheimer's.
The Heart of America chapter will host 7 more walks to raise money for the organization. For CAPS 13, I'm Addie Hinterweger. Back to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Addie. For more information about the Alzheimer's Walk, feel free to reach out to the Heart of America chapter of the Alzheimer's Association.
Pittsburgh is making it easier for electric vehicles owners to charge their cars. With new charging stations popping the Kansas Technology Center, allowing students, faculty, and staff to charge their vehicles while on campus. A new charging station has also been added to the Comfort Inn on the north side of town, giving drivers more options to power up while traveling. EV owners like Brett Gibson say they're excited about the convenience.
It's very convenient whenever I want to go get a workout in at the rec center, or if I'm just going on a walk, I can park here. There's also a charger up in downtown that I use, and it's very convenient as well.
With more EV charging stations available, Pittsburgh is taking steps to support sustainable transportation and provide local EV drivers with easier access to charge their vehicles. A canned food drive took place on campus to give back to a community organization. The drive ran from September 10th to 30th and was primarily an endeavor by the English and Modern Language Department on the 4th floor of Grubbs Hall. It focused on collecting canned food and bottled water drive, which would be given to the Wesley House in Pittsburgh, Kansas to stock their food pantry. This event was conceived of and primarily ran by the English Department graduate teaching assistant Marcy Heatherly. Heatherly was inspired by recent experiences post-undergrad to pursue community service.
This past year that I was not in Pittsburgh, I was on a program that is I was in Eastern Europe, teaching, and part of my duties there, not only being a teacher, but was to do weekly community engagement, community service type projects. And so I think it's kind of just ingrained in what I want to do now. The
drive was able to collect 14 cases of water, 2 cases of juice, 20 box snack items, and $175 in cash donations for Wesley House. Heatherly plans to do more drives in the future. If you would like to get involved, receive information, or have any suggestions, you can contact her at mheatherly@gus.pittstate.edu.
Up next on Caps 13, Global Fest returns for another year at Pittsburg State. We'll have that story and more after this short break.
Pitt State students care about the Golden Rule, and so should you. Thank you.
Planet Earth. Vital to us all. And still, sometimes, some of us take it for granted. But how much can we ignore? How much can we overlook before it's too much, or before it's too late? Your choice matters. A lot of little efforts have a big impact.
Pitt State often has events celebrating the many cultural groups on campus. Caps 13 News reporter Dylan Wagner is live now with coverage over one such recent event. Dylan?
Thanks, Brandon. This past September, Pitt State's international programs and services hosted a Global Fest International Street Market. On Friday, September 27th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Pitt State's Lindbergh Plaza was bustling. The smell of food wafted through the air and music from around the world played. People from Pitt State and the surrounding area shuffled around the packed stalls. Their mission? To interact with students and other individuals who had set up a booth to show off their culture and its cuisine. The International Student Association President Hannah Dahl says that their student organization tries to do a big event like this one every semester.
Try to do something big every single semester. So I think it's really important for international students to have an opportunity to show their culture. We oftentimes feel a little bit lonely here, or like we don't get to actually feel our culture. We're living somewhere else, so a lot of what we're eating, doing is very American. And this is a really good opportunity for us to not only get together with friends and cook meals from our culture, listen to music, but also show everybody else we really love sharing.
The event also had interactive events which demonstrated cultural practices and then tried to teach them to the attendees. One such event was a presentation of classic Indian dance by the graduate teaching assistant for the Department of Psychology, Shreyashi Dutta. Dutta said she is having a great time teaching the Pittsburgh area about her culture.
Pittsburgh has given me this opportunity of teaching the people here in the Global Fest and sharing my dance journey with them, which was like a great thing, a great feeling, I would say. And I'm glad that I'm here, and I already had a round of dance class or dance lesson with few people, and they enjoyed, and I enjoyed even more actually.
The Global Fest represented 18 different cultural groups, showcasing the diversity of Pitt State campus. Back to you, Zach.
2 Pittsburg State faculty members were honored with a prestigious award that recognizes their outstanding impact on students and campus life. Caps 13 reporter Brandon Derbyshire has the story.
On September 14th, the Kansas Board of Regents named Kristen Livingston and Christine Brodsky Faculty of the Year. Kristen Livingston, Assistant Professor of Communication, described the honor as a milestone for both her and Brodsky.
This was just a huge honor for myself and the other recipient, who's wonderful, Dr. Christine Brodsky. She received the award too, to kind of jumpstart the future and keep this, continuing down the line.
Livingston added that the recognition was especially meaningful because she was nominated by her peers at Pittsburg State rather than just students.
And I think it was this last May when I was officially notified that I had received the nomination for our university. And I was very, very honored, very, very humbled, because this is something where it's not just selected like by students, but it's selected by your peers across campus. And so that to me was an amazing feat, and is something that I'm always going to remember.
Christine Brodsky, Associate Professor of Biology, is known for her engaging teaching style and her passion for urban ecology research. Students like Zach Hacker say Brodsky's dedication makes her classes exceptional.
I always had a really good time in her class. It was, it's not hard to stay focused when, the teacher's passionate about something. You can always tell. I think she just did an amazing job, and I think everyone in the class really agreed with me. No one was, no one's always on their phones, because you can just tell when the teacher's passionate and they actually care about what they're talking about. I think that's probably the biggest reason, maybe. She got Faculty of the Year.
Livingston and Brodsky are among 8 faculty members from across Kansas to be named in the new program. For Caps 13 News, I'm Brandon Darbyshire.
Coming up on Caps 13, Root Coffee House hosts a vintage pop-up shop in downtown Pittsburgh. We'll have more about that story and others after the break.
Hey, are you a Pitt State student looking to make the most of your college experience? Well, it's time to get involved. Join clubs, participate in sports, volunteer for community projects, and attend exciting events on your campus. Getting involved at Pitt State not only enriches your education, but also allows you to create lifelong relationships. Don't miss out. Embrace university life and discover all of the opportunities waiting for you. Get involved today.
Severe weather can strike at any time. If you want you and your property to be safe, listen to these steps. Stay away from big metal poles like this one. This is a flagpole. You do not want to become a human lightning rod. Resources like the National Weather Service will sometimes send alerts through your phone letting you know if a severe weather event's happening. If you're on the road during a storm, make sure to drive 5 to 10 miles below the speed limit. You do not want to go off the road. And it also allows you stopping time in case any debris falls into the road. If you're going to go park a car, if you have a garage, park it in your garage. If you need a carport, park it under a carport. You do not want trees falling on your car. Make sure to stay away from windows. Thunder and lightning can both break windows, and high winds can send debris like tree branches crashing through your window. And you do not want to end up like this fence here. Now, whether it's inside or outside, when severe weather strikes, you know how to stay safe, gorillas.
Root Coffee House hosts three local vintage clothing enthusiasts for a pop-up thrift event. Guest room vintage, happily recycled, and vintage cubes set up for a micro storefront with some of their unique pieces available for purchase. Shoppers could enjoy coffee from Root Coffee House while browsing vintage clothing. One vendor says that he buys clothing from thrift stores and Goodwill and Salvation Army, then prices the pieces according to their rarity and age. The vendors share their passion for vintage, say they enjoy collaborating with each other for pop-up events.
The vintage community is pretty niche, but oftentimes there can be a lot of competition. But to get to do it with people that you love and care about and send each other stuff that you find throughout the day or throughout the week to be like, dude, I found this, and your friends will be like, oh, this is so cool. It means a lot.
This is the second time the vintage vendors are collaborating with Root for a pop-up event, and they plan to have more in the future.
October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, And with that in mind, I decided to take a look toward the community to see what we as the PSU and the surrounding community to do to take care of those affected by domestic abuse. The Safe House Crisis Center in Pittsburgh was more than willing to talk to us about the services they provide to those in need. Located at 409 North Walnut in Pittsburgh, Kansas, the Safe House Crisis Center is a place to go for victims and survivors of domestic abuse. This nonprofit organization has deep roots in the Pittsburgh community as well as Pittsburg State University.
Located at 409 North Walnut Street in Pittsburgh, Kansas, the Safe House Crisis Center is the place to go for victims and survivors of domestic abuse. This nonprofit organization has deep roots in the Pittsburgh community as well as Pittsburg State University.
I graduated from Pittsburg State University in 2007 with my bachelor's in general studies. I was kind of floundering, didn't know what I wanted to do. I had started my master's and a position, this would have been 2008, opened up with the agency, and I got my foot in the door. And just through the years, I've held different positions. I was an advocate on Pittsburg State University's campus, and I helped found Students for Violence Prevention with the students on campus. And then in April of 2020, I became the executive director for the agency. One of my prouder moments in this job is being when I was on campus, working as an advocate on campus and working with the students in Students for Violence Prevention. They were peer educators, so they still are around today, but they educate their peers about violence and how to get help and safe house services and reporting and consent and all of those things. So it was a really fun time.
There has been an advocate present on campus in years previous, but recently, just due to some changes between the two entities, there hasn't been an advocate. So this will be a fresh start for the agency, helping them navigate one of the bigger issues that unfortunately college-oriented individuals face is sexual assault. And so having more of a fine-tuned focus on that by helping them navigate Title IX, the legal process of it, such as protection orders, as well as reporting to the police, helping be that middleman between the police and the victim, and helping them transition into some of the more medical-based pieces of it as well, such as scene exams or sexual assault forensic exams.
The Safe House is helping Pitt State students by starting on-campus support groups for students and faculty.
We're going to be starting up support groups on campus. So that would open the doors for not just victims and survivors, but also people who want to know how they can help others. And also it opens up that conversation piece, because education is one of the best ways in which we can prevent things from happening in the future. And so opening up that ground for people to come together and talk with each other and understanding the issues that are being mutually experienced on campus, we can come together and figure out how can we prevent this in the future and how can we fix it now.
Coming up on Caps 13, reporter Vail Messer brings us the latest weather. We'll have a forecast and more after the short break.
Oh, hey! Did you get drugs off the street again? It's not that I'm upset, just disappointed. But I'm more concerned about your safety. Are you at least gonna get your drugs tested for fentanyl? What? Do you know how dangerous that can be? Here, say this chocolate chip cookie is the drugs that you got. Let's look at all these chocolate chips. See how they're not evenly distributed? That's how fentanyl works. Anytime you get drugs, make sure you test all the areas to see if there's fentanyl. You never know what chips could be hiding.
I hear him saying that he's going to need to check it out.
Hey, you ready to go?
Yeah, hurry up, let's go.
Not gonna put your seatbelt on?
No, for what? We're just going around the corner.
I guess you have a point.
Yeah, I'm always right. I don't know why you never listen to me. You do this every single time. Woo!
Being buckled up during a crash helps keep you safe inside your vehicle.
Welcome back to CAX 13 News. I'm Belle with the weather. Now I know it's October, but don't start pulling out those sweaters yet. Let's take a look at the weather this evening. Right now we have, at 4 p.m. it is 91 degrees. At 7 p.m. we have 82 degrees. And at 11 p.m. we have 70 degrees. By the end of 7 p.m. it's going to start to drop in temperature, and we're going to take that to the Friday report. As we stroll right into Friday, we're going to see a high of 91, but a drastic dip in temperature in the evening with a low of 60. Our Friday afternoon is going to be sunny with temps settling around 98 degrees at noon. Wind will be coming in from the southwest at 7 miles per hour, hopefully giving us a peek at crisp fall air we've all been looking for. Visibility is going to be a nice 12 miles per hour, and humidity will hang at 45% throughout the day. Pitt State has a big football game on Saturday. Carnegie Stadium is welcoming a group of potential freshmen for Rumble in the Jungle. Let's take a look at the forecast for the big football game against Missouri Western. It's going to be a warm, sunny day. The scheduled high around 91. Kickoff starts at 2 p.m. and that's when we'll see 80 degrees with 13 miles per hour winds coming in from the south. Now that wind could potentially be a factor in play calling, but it should not be a major factor in how the game's going to play out. After the game, temperatures are going to stay relatively warm until 7 p.m. where it will potentially dip down to 60 degrees. We've been focusing a lot on Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at the rest of Kansas. Here's are the temperatures for Kansas. As you can see, eastern Kansas is relatively high compared to the rest of the state, with Emporia and Topeka at 92 degrees. As we move closer to the center of the state and towards Colorado, our temperatures start to dip. Elk Park at 68 and Goodland at 75. Let's move on to next week. Our temperatures are looking unseasonably warm for October, staying in the 80-degree range. Thursday and Friday warming up at the end of the week. However, we see this dramatic low at 48 degrees on Monday. All this means is that we'll be seeing the classic Midwest weather switch up. So throw on that jacket in the morning, keep the short sleeves for the midday and afternoon, then wrap up in the evenings. And once again, I am Vail Messer with the weather.
If you live in a small town, there's a big chance that there's some sort of publication or broadcast group that presents local news. According to the American Journalism Project, a philanthropic organization that assists local news groups with funding, nearly 3,000 local newspapers have ceased operations since 2005. It's essential to make information easily accessible to the public. Southeast Kansas has a strong history in rural journalism. Find a way to help support it.
It is important for everyone to follow the ways of the road to stay safe. According to the FCC, more than 3,300 people have been killed due to distracted drivers, and roughly 290,000 people have been injured. People nowadays have a temptation of looking at their phone while driving. Texting and driving has been easier now more than ever. Do your job to help keep the roads safe. Don't look at your phone, look at the road. Don't tempt fate, the text can wait.
The open road is dangerous. Crashes happen more than you think. It can happen to someone you know, someone you don't know, or even you. Stick to the signs. Speeding kills.
Pittsburg State University hosted a choir banquet this past weekend. This event was held annually by PSU choir director Dr. Susan Marchant. This year's choir theme was music from the greatest generation, sporting hits from the 1940s and 50s. The event was held in the Overman Student Center Ballroom and had an audience full of parents, grandparents, and some great-grandparents, all enjoying a night of good music, good food, and good company. Director Dr. Susan Marchant was unavailable for comment.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Brandon Derbyshire.
And I'm Zachariah Boswell. From all of us at CAPS 13, have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you next time.